Hey guys, Martin here bringing on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so today we are going to take a look at the LR Kale and Caulifla not on a Universe 6 team. So we're not using their leader skill, and we are taking a look at them on the AGL Gogeta team, because obviously they do actually get the full 220 lead from this guy, because of course they are a pure Saiyans character, and then thanks to Caulifla, the fact that this is a reversible exchange, so they get all the categories of both the characters. Caulifla is on Gifted Warriors. Kale obviously isn't, so if it was a normal joined forces LR, like the LR Kale and Caulifla we already had, the AGL one, they would not be on this leader skill. Obviously if they fused into Kefla, they would be on the Vegito one as well, right? Because he has Potara as his extra category, but these guys are going to be on the 220 lead for Gogeta. As you can see, like, we've got a pretty strong team set up. I mean, it's the usual sort of top level units that you would kind of expect to see on a AGL Gogeta team. Only we've got the Kale and Caulifla, we got Bardock for a bit of support. Obviously we could have run the gods to have both the 7 years, but I thought we'd run Bardock for a bit of support for these guys, and yeah, we'll just see how we get on. So we've got them on the first turn, got a couple of links active here. Obviously with the Goku, he is providing an extra 50% defense, because of course these guys are a Power Beyond Super Saiyan character, because it's Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla and Super Saiyan 2 Kale. So I think we will go ahead and start them off here in these guys in slot 1, because of course on turn 1 they have that exceptional 77% damage reduction. Now in terms of key links on this rotation, we've got Prepared for Battle, and that's it. So that's the one big thing I think for this team build, where we could maybe see some issue a bit later on. However, once we get Kale out and we use Kale's active skill, it should be null and void, because the thing is with Caulifla's active skill, whilst her active skill does give defense, it's a much smaller amount, and it's attack and defense and 1 key for all Universe 6 characters. So obviously on this team build, like, that isn't going to be doing anything, because the LR Kale and Caulifla are the only Universe 6 character on the team. So it'll give them a little bit of extra attack and defense and 1 key. But if we use Kale's active skill, it gives the unit themselves 6 key and extra attack. Meaning if at any point we did want to switch back to the Caulifla, she still gets the 6 key and attack buff, right? So in these early few turns, it definitely is possible that we could end up getting some situations where we would struggle for key with them a little bit. But obviously we'll see how we go, because that's the thing, on their own team, or on like a Universe Survival Saga kind of team, the fact that they have Tournament of Power, which is a 3 key link, is obviously very helpful. And then linking them up with any other Universe 6 like girl characters you've got, or any Universe 6 character in general. Warriors of Universe 6 gives key, and then of course linking them up with any other Kale or Caulifla or Kefla, they have Battlefield Diva, which is key as well. So on this team, like, Prepared for Battle is like the main key link that they're going to have active, which is only 2 key, right? And especially when it comes to the Kale part of the card, key certainly could be an issue for her before we've used her active skill. But we'll see how we get on. So Caulifla holding up well there. I mean, I guess for the first turn we'll leave you in slot 1 just because of the type advantage. So I guess we'll do that, and then grab those for you. It's very possible Bardock might not actually get to attack, but we're going to super in slot 1 straight away. Not great for the 7 years, for the 10 years for like the very first turn, but it is what it is. We're doing the Goku Story Universe Survival Saga stage, because this is still probably one of the harder stages in the game at the moment, with the AGL Jiren boss at the end. But that's really what I want to see, the kind of situation I want to see this unit in, right? Because I think, especially after the initial showcase that we did yesterday, the Kale part of the card especially is going to be very useful on some of these other teams as this like monster slot 1 tank. So obviously we want to see how that plays out. The problem with this team is it is very tempting to bring all of these like the big powerful anniversary units and LRs but in terms of like who can actually go in slot 1 in like the early turns, your options are a bit more limited, because like on the second turn, the Super Saiyan 4s are obviously not quite as good. I mean, we're up to 857k defense and they have guard, so I think that they would still be fine here, although the key is not great. Obviously with Caulifla, as she attacks, she builds up ki, so it's a lot easier for her on the later turns to have ki, which is good. I mean, I guess we'll just have to do this. Grab these for you, and then you get 3 orbs for you. Not really ideal, but yeah, a little bit wonky for the early turns, I guess. I was going to say, as long as we don't get immediately slot 1 supered, we should be fine. I don't know how much Kale hits for, but we got a 900k defense and guard, so it took 400k, geez. But everybody else, like for the rest of the turn, no other attacks should do more than double-digit damage. But yeah, maybe we should have brought a different... I really wanted to bring Bardock for the support, but I probably should have just brought like Great 8 Vegeta or something. He's on the 220 lead for this AGL Gogeta as well, and then we could have just had him as a slot 1. Because obviously the idea is that as we get a bit further through the event and we get to eventually Jiren, that we're going to be using Kale as a slot 1. And then on the other rotation, I guess we're either going to be using one of the fusions, or, you know, if the Super Saiyan 4s are fused into Gogeta at that point. But I guess we'll see. Because I think when you look at this unit overall, like, the Caulifla part of the card, I think, is not really that impressive, outside of certain very niche situations, because of course she has the guaranteed dodge for the first attack of the turn. So there will be some situations where that will be super clutch, because obviously you can... yeah, we're definitely going to do this now for on low HP. There's going to be situations where, especially with a lot of the characters on this team having the ability to get a scouter, you're going to be able to know exactly where the super attack is on the turn, and if it's in a slot where that super is the only attack, then you could put Caulifla there. Or even if it's not the only attack, like say this turn here, Kale's attacking twice in slot 2. If that very first attack was the super, then we know we can put Caulifla there and she's going to guarantee dodge it, and then her defense should be good enough that she's going to survive the normal, even if she doesn't tank it for double digits against some of the tougher bosses, or if they disable dodge. Like, even if she doesn't tank it for double digit damage, she's still like not going to die to it, because her post super defense is pretty solid. So that could obviously be very helpful. And on the turn where she does the full field orb change, she gets guaranteed dodge against every single attack for the turn, which could be useful, but I feel like it's one of those... I feel like that's a really weirdly designed part of her card, because on that turn, if you switch to Kale, not only are you guaranteed you're going to get 24 ki, so she's going to have ridiculous defense, but you also get her full ki, and she gets the 23 orbs, so she does like 5 supers guaranteed. Whereas Caulifla just auto dodges every attack for the turn, which essentially means she's doing the same thing as Kale, which is she's just making it so you take no damage. But like, you don't really need that if you've got a slot 1 I mean, I guess it depends on the situation, right? There are certain turns, I suppose, where you could end up like if it's a big super. I guess it all just depends on the setup. But we saw yesterday, like in the Rainbow Unit Showcase for these guys, that Kale at 24 ki, I mean, she's tanking like 5 to 6 million damage supers for double digit damage. So there's not really a lot of situations, unless we get a boss that has like, you know, one of those countdown like one hit KO supers, because it hits you for like 10 million or something. That's probably one of the only situations where I would say you would want to use the 23 physical orbs for Caulifla. Otherwise, like, Kale is just going to be doing the better job at like being the tank. Alright, so these guys can transform. Ideally we don't want to transform them here, but they only have 1 million defense on this turn. Let me just double check. What is Kefla hitting for? I think she hits for a little bit over like 2 million. So obviously if we don't use an item here, we will die if she super attacks in slot 1. Yeah, she hits for like 2.3, and she also raises attack on her super. So you can see here with the links and support and everything, we've got 780k defense start of turn. We can go ahead and grab... I don't want to fuse into Gogeta yet, so we'll go ahead and do this. We'll get the 3 key for you. And then I guess let's just go ahead and... Do I just Ghost Usher, or shall I use an item? Shall I heal? We could use a Princess Snake, I guess. It's what? Damage reduction. It's only 30%. So that would drop her super down to like... If she's raising attack by 30%, she's still doing actually close to 3 mil. That only drops it to like 2 mil. So they would still probably take damage. And then, of course, thinking about it, the next turn, we don't exactly have the craziest rotation. Maybe we'll just Ghost Usher here. And then we could, like, Princess Snake next turn. Obviously, like, I know some people will say, you know, there's always been this thing about no items and stuff in Dokkan. And we're trying to show off the LR Kale and Caulifla and how good they could be on a different team. So I know some people's initial reaction, like, people will be like, oh, well, if you have to use an item, like, are they really good, like, on that team? But... to be honest, like I said, I probably should have built the team slightly differently. I just wanted to bring Bardock because one of the things I mentioned in the Universe 6 showcase video yesterday is the fact that because the Universe 6 team is so difficult to run, because barely any of the units are actually good enough like to run in difficult content, but there's also the fact that like none of them are giving support. So I kind of wanted to see what, you know, the Kale and Caulifla unit would be looking like if we gave them a bit of support, right? And Bardock is a super class support unit. So 25 million attack for the initial super here from Caulifla. Then we get an additional at 15.8. I mean, it's not bad. Obviously, we've seen, you know, Rainbow LRs hitting for harder than that in this new meta, but... you know, she gets a couple of additional attacks off. We're up to 16.6 on an additional super here as well. And then, of course, that guarantee dodging the first attack is always going to be really helpful. Irrelevant on this turn, right, because we're not being attacked, but still definitely very helpful. And then, obviously, we've got the next rotation. We'll probably just leave the year 10s in there, like... transformed state here. I mean, it's going to be a bit spicy for this Goku in slot 1. He's at 500k defense. He gets 200% when he gets hit, so he goes up to 1.5. He has guard. So if we... yeah, let's go ahead and do this here. Make sure this rotation is going to be fine. I mean, that makes it so that this guy has like over 100% damage reduction, so... he's not taking any damage. I mean, obviously, I could use the active skills here. Make it so that we could use the Ghost Usher, like, Veku attack, but... oh, come on, he dodged the normal. There we go. Oof. This Goku, I swear, like, the number of times in slot 1 this guy can let you down. Like, his dodge chance is pretty good. His solid defense and guard, but, like, eating a slot 1 super in a lot of these situations is not ideal for him. I think one of the things is a lot of people who, if you're someone who spent a lot of time, like it took you obviously more than one attempt or even a few attempts, a lot of people that spent a lot of time trying to beat Festival of Battles, you get this, it almost gives you like a false impression of how invincible the year 10s can be in their defensive state because you get so long to stack with them that they just become basically invincible in that event. But in a normal red zone stage, like especially the first turn you can exchange them into the defensive side of the card, like the first turn Vegeta can switch into Goku for this AGL card. You put him in slot 1 and he doesn't dodge. Like, he can take a lot of damage. So I definitely have had runs lost. I mean, obviously for me on my main account, like both my 10-year fusions are only 55%. I've definitely had runs in these difficult events lost because Goku doesn't super in slot 1, doesn't dodge in slot 1, right? So, Friend Vegeta hitting 35 million on this turn. I mean, obviously, like, the 10-year fusions are the headliners of the greatest anniversary we've ever had in the game. So, I mean, of course they're impressive, but the fact they're still, like, showing out this much in terms of numbers against some of these other newer characters is pretty funny. Alright, so this is a rotation that I really wanted to see, because we've got the Super Saiyan 4 Goku now that he's transformed, gives power beyond Super Saiyan allies 70% defense and 10% damage reduction. So that obviously applies to these guys because they are Super Saiyan 2. So if we switch over to Kale, now this is the example that I was saying, right? This is where Kale is not going to look great in terms of her ki, right? Because she's getting 3 ki from the double leads, which is 6, and then prepared for battle, which is another 2. So definitely not a great rotation for her. If she was next to the Super Saiyan 4s, she's only getting 6 ki because they don't have prepared for battle, right? So we will go ahead and use her active skill. I don't think I used it in the previous video, did I? We wanted the double Caulifla buff, so let's go ahead and actually see her active skill here. Good old Broly quote. Nice. The KO screen as well. You love to see that. Alright, well there you go. I should have... I didn't really think about the fact that that was actually just going to be GG. So... Oh, right, of course. This guy's rotation locking, doesn't he? My favourite. Alright, well, we're going to have to start busting out some special abilities here then. Because good old rotation locking. I suppose realistically the best thing to do then is to just use Vegito on this turn. And use his active skill. I mean, Bardock, to be fair, like Bardock has the active skill that gives him a ton of extra defense, but he's barely stacked in this run. So we'll go ahead and use Vegito's active skill. Not going to use Gogeta on this turn, on like his active skill as well, right? Because we want to try and make sure we're... Do I stack more defense with you? Does it really matter at this point? Well, actually, yeah, you probably do less damage than the Vegeta, so we will do that. So we'll do this. All the attacks are going to be focused on Vegito, so we don't need to worry about anyone else on the rotation. And then we'll do that. Because obviously Goku, the AGL Goku part of the Gogeta card, not really great outside of slot 1 in terms of his defense and everything, but he's not going to get hit this turn, right? Because all the attacks are focused on Vegito. Jiren does seal as well, which I guess for what we're trying to do here is probably good, because we don't want to just kill him too quickly in this turn. I mean, Vegito is obviously going to do a good amount of counter damage, but the fact that he's not able to do his super attacks as well in this turn does actually kind of help with that. So, but yeah, Bardock can get some attacks off here. But remember that Bardock only stacks defense on his 18 key super, so that's the other thing to bear in mind, is in these shorter events. I mean, I say shorter, it's still been a decent few turns, but in these shorter events, right, he's not going to stack up to the kind of crazy levels that he will in things like the festival, because he's only stacking on that 18 key super. Also remember that on this team, he's only getting the 170 lead because of the pure Saiyans, right? He's not a gifted warrior or a fusion character. So his numbers are a little bit lower than we would potentially see on other teams. He still doesn't have a 220% leader. I'm probably going to end up mentioning, for those of you who watch all the videos, you'll know, I probably mention this every time I use him, but I really want a 220% leader to come out for him, because he's such a good unit. The fact that he's a free-to-play card and he's as good as he is. But he's got very few 200% leaders, and then even the ones that he does have, half of them aren't really relevant for difficult content anymore. So I really want him to get a 220 lead that is going to be really good, and then we can see his full potential. But yeah, so Vegito doing some big damage with the counters, getting these crits, because obviously it's the active skill turn. So now we have Kale. Kale's in slot 2. Man, so annoying. Okay, so let's go ahead and fuse into Gogeta here. I mean, I guess we could not use the active skill straight away, so we could see a turn without it, but the annoying thing is there's not a lot of rainbow orbs here, so he's not going to get a huge amount of damage reduction. What is Kale's start of turn defense? 261k. That's with obviously the extra 70% from Goku. I mean, realistically, if we were just trying to win the event, right, we would just do this. Don't change all the physical orbs into rainbows. Okay, good. Because then we can do that. Then we can do that. So we've got 23 ki with Kale. So basically her full, and she's got 400k defense start of turn. So obviously it's massively boosted because of the Gogeta active skill. But with 23 ki, that means she gets 1,518% defense on super. So what's she at? 402,229 plus 1,518%. So when she gets hit, when she takes her first hit of the turn, her defense will be 6.5 million and she has guard on this turn. I mean, obviously it's super boosted by Gogeta, which like he makes all the top tier units in the game look even better, like just by having that active skill effect in play. But that means in terms of like red zones, blue zones, battle hardened formidable foes, like there's no current boss in the meta that on this turn would be able to do damage to Kale. Like 6.5 million and guard means she's tanking like 8 million, like maybe even 9 million, right? Damage super attacks for double digit damage. So obviously like Kale is really good. I tried to stress this really like hard in the showcase we did yesterday. The Caulifla part of the card has some decent usage. I think it makes sense that she's the first like form of the card, but it kind of, in a way, I guess it does take away from the design a little bit, because I genuinely feel like once you have gotten to the point where you exchange into Kale, I don't really know why you would ever switch back into Caulifla. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, but obviously the Kale part of the card being a monster tank that can also do some pretty solid damage. I mean, she's at 28 start of the turn, obviously with for the first super. We saw Caulifla around the same sort of number, I guess, without the Gogeta buff. I guess the downside is by not picking up a lot of orbs, Kale doesn't get these extra supers. But, you know, I guess her role is to be a tank. I suppose it's awkward because on this turn in particular, with rotation locking, a good old rotating mechanic that it is, her being locked in slot 1, it's really awkward, because this would have been a great turn for her to be, oh sorry, locked in slot 2. This would have been a great turn for her to be in slot 1, because obviously she'd have just tanked all of those hits. I think the orbs were a little bit better in slot 1, especially after we used Gogeta's active skill. It would have been a lot easier for her to get a lot of orbs. But yeah, now we can fuse into Gogeta and it just be GG. Do we want to kill him with the Big Bang Kamehameha? Do we want to try and kill him with the super attack counter? That's where it's at, because even if he doesn't counter, he won't die, right? He's got 2.1 million defense and has 77% damage reduction again on this turn, so he can't take damage. And there's the super counter. You love to see it. So 17.5 million attack stat for the super counter that takes out Jiren. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Obviously it's not like the most optimal team build. Of course, there's me completely forgetting that there is actually another phase. I don't know why, because the I think it's the Vegeta story one goes from like Topo into Jiren, and then for some reason I just had it in my head that this one goes from like Kefla into Jiren and then it's GG. So we still got another phase, but that's good because that gives us this opportunity here. I mean, what do we want to do? Don't really want to use the other Gogeta thing here. I don't want to use his active skill because then we don't get any attacks. But honestly, him super attacking in slot 3 here is actually really annoying, because we'd much rather see Kale tank in slot 1, and then obviously we want to survive the turn. So we'll do that. So we've got 21 ki, 211k defense start of turn. I mean, obviously she's going to tank normals. This Vegeta, when he's attacking in slot 2 or 3, he has guard. But oh, he's got 1.2 million defense, to be fair. What does this guy hit for on his normals? 1 million. Okay, well yeah, so he's fine. And then we just want to make sure we get a make sure we get rainbow orbs for Gogeta, but there's only one. I mean, post-super with the damage reduction and guard and everything that he does have, he should be fine. But yeah, we did the calcs yesterday for a Kale that's starting at about 210k defense start of turn, getting around 21 key. She's still going to be at like 3 to 4, like 3.5 million defense when she gets hit with guard. So again, on a turn like this, where we have a scouter and we know she's not going to get hit with a super, that level of defense, there's like no bosses in the game whose normal attacks would do damage to her either, right? So we know that she's going to be perfectly fine in slot 2. But yeah, the team build is not exactly the best, like I said, right? Probably shouldn't have brought Bardock. I just wanted to see if a little bit of support could get some decent higher numbers out of them. It hasn't really made a huge effect, especially on what it is we want them to do. Like, Caulifla's not going to be living a super she doesn't dodge just because you've got that little bit of Bardock support. I do think that is the one issue with the 10-year team, is that there's all these top tier LRs that you want to bring on the team, but a lot of them don't fulfill that role of being like the go-to slot 1 tank, right? So you've got to sacrifice having some of them on the team in order to bring like the slot 1 tanks. But once you get to turn 6, Kale absolutely can fulfill this role on this team. I mean, she's done it well enough here in this run. So I think that Kale and Caulifla are definitely very, very strong on this team. What other 220 leads are they even on? Because Dokkan Info is awkward with the 200% leaders, because the new leader skill format gives 200% HP. It will show all of those leaders even if they don't get the extra 50% from them, which is obviously not really what we want to see. We just want to see the who's getting the full like 220 lead. Jiren has an absolute ton of HP as well. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I guess we'll go ahead and do that. This Goku probably should just be Vegeta for the slot 3. He's at 542k defense, so we'll go ahead and do that. So obviously, Kale and Caulifla, they are on full power, so they'll be on SSJ2 Gohan's 220 lead. They're, of course, a Universe Survival Saga character, so they'll be on the STR Blue Evolution Vegeta team. He should have Tournament of Power as well, right? So they would have at least the key link with him. Hit, of course, obviously they're on Hit's leader skill. Well, actually, are they on the full 220? Yeah, Tournament Participants is his extra thing. So, of course, they're on Hit's leader skill. It would be kind of stupid if they weren't on Hit's full lead, to be fair. They are on Kaioken Goku's as well, because obviously they're on full power, and then he gets Tournament Participants as one of his plus 50%. STR Cell. No, these guys aren't on Accelerated Battle, so they're only on his 170. Daima Vegeta, Gifted Warriors, and then Power Beyond Super Saiyan. So yeah, they're actually on Daima Vegeta's full 220%. So they're on a fair few teams, and that's the thing, like, they'll link up decently well with other Saiyans, with links like Super Saiyan and Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle, but then all of their other links are key links that are either Tournament of Power or Universe 6 related, right? So if you are throwing them on these other teams with a bunch of other Super Saiyan characters, then, you know, they're not going to be getting a lot of their link set activated. They should still be good, like, and usable for sure, but they're not going to be like crazy top tier, which is a shame, right? Because as we talked about in the video yesterday, the Universe 6 team is really not all that. Needs some more buffs. I know the celebration is not over yet, so still holding out hope that we're going to get some significant buffs, because we all expect the Tech Kale and Caulifla Easy A, but realistically, if that's the only thing we get to like buff the Universe 6 team, like, that isn't good enough, right? The team is still not going to be particularly great. Well, he didn't, oh yeah, you know, the last phase doesn't lock, does he? Alright, so I guess we could, if we really wanted to finish this off here, we could go ahead and... I should have brought an orb changing item, because yeah, this is going to be the worst part for Kale, because you need 6 orbs to get the 2 extra supers. The 23 orbs is basically never going to happen, right? But, like, getting 6 orbs can definitely be awkward. But if we go ahead and do this, if we use Gogeta's active skill here, can we get some rainbows and actually get the 6 orbs for Kale? Get to see Kale with the active skill, Gogeta active skill turn again. And this time she actually gets to be in slot 1. Wow, that did... Okay, I was going to say that did basically nothing, but it did give her the ability to get 6 orbs. There's also no super on this turn. So, let's do that. You know what? I haven't seen it for a while. Let's go ahead and get Bardock's active skill in here as well, considering he has the Gogeta buff this turn. Should hopefully hit relatively hard. And we get to see this great animation for his active skill, where he very clearly goes Super Saiyan 2, and yet the card isn't on Super Saiyan 2 or probably on Super Saiyan. Let's go. Yeah, not bad. And that puts him to what on the Gogeta active skill turn? 4.5 million defense. Pretty good. And yeah, Kale will be at around the 400k mark again, like we saw previously on the Gogeta active skill turn. So of course that means she takes double-digit damage from everything. 30 million attack stat. And then of course we did get the 6 orbs, so we get 2 guaranteed additionals. Her first attack of the turn is always a crit. So that first big 18 key super is always going to be a crit. And then she does get extra crit chance with her additional supers as well. 23 mil for the second one here. No hidden potential additional though, unfortunately. But yeah, then she just eats everything for double-digit damage. Bardock probably lives if he gets supered in slot 3 here, but we're not going to get another turn with Kale, so we'll probably just wrap it up at the end of the turn here, because we got the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku turn on the next turn, so between the two of them, there's no way Jiren's going to survive that turn, right? So anyway, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section of the LR Kale and Caulifla outside of the Universe 16. We could do a showcase for them on the Blue Vegeta like 220 Universe Survival Saga team. Let me know what you think. If there's any other teams that you want to see out of the ones that I mentioned, right? Full Power with the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Any of these other teams that you want to see a showcase for them on. The Tournament of Power one obviously could work very well, Universe Survival Saga, with the Blue Vegeta, because of them then being able to pick up that Tournament of Power link for the 3 extra key. And being another solid slot 1 unit for that team would actually be very good, because the Universe Survival Saga team kind of relies on the UI Gokus to be the slot 1s, which means if they don't dodge, then things don't look so great. But yeah, I think she works very well on this team. Key issue definitely can be a thing. Without an orb changer, getting the orbs is awkward for Kale, but I do see Kale more as that defensive unit, so if she's not getting a bunch of additional supers, it's not the end of the world, because I'm not putting her there to do damage. She's there to be a defensive unit. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.